Although much has been documented about the aftermath of her passing, far less is widely known about the events and circumstances leading up to it. Today we delve deeper to uncover and share 20 intriguing insights about Queen Elizabeth II's final days and the moments that preceded her farewell. Queen Elizabeth II faced health challenges for quite some time before her passing on September 8, 2022. That year proved particularly difficult. In February, she tested positive for COVID-19, which, while resulting in only mild symptoms, sparked widespread concern across Britain. Despite being fully vaccinated and having received a booster, her advanced age, 95 at the time, placed her in a high-risk category. To safeguard her health, the royal palace scaled back her responsibilities, allowing her to focus on lighter duties at Windsor Castle. However, not everything could be managed behind closed doors. Over the months, her health continued to decline, leaving many concerned. Adding to her age and declining health, the Queen bore the weight of profound grief. Her husband of 73 years, Prince Philip, passed away in 2021 at the age of 99, leaving her heartbroken. Despite her sorrow, she carried on with her royal duties, but it was evident she did so with a heavy heart. Many speculate that her grief contributed to her declining health, with some suggesting she succumbed in part to a broken heart. This sentiment is underscored by the poignant detail of their final resting place. Initially, Prince Philip's coffin was placed in the royal vault, but after her passing it was moved to the King George VI Memorial Chapel to rest beside her. It was as though the Queen had orchestrated their final journey together, ensuring they remained side by side, even in death. Despite her personal losses and health struggles, Queen Elizabeth II remained steadfast in her royal duties. After Prince Philip's death, she continued her daily responsibilities, demonstrating remarkable resilience. However, by March 2022, her declining health became increasingly apparent. For the first time in 60 years, she missed the state opening of Parliament due to mobility issues, with the Prince of Wales delivering her speech instead. This marked only the third time she had missed the event, the first two being during her pregnancies with Prince Andrew in 1959 and Prince Edward in 1963. Remarkably, even in her final days, the Queen fulfilled her constitutional role. Just 2 days before her passing, she formally dismissed Prime Minister Boris Johnson and appointed Liz Truss as his successor at Balmoral Castle. According to Truss, the Queen was sharp and engaged during their meeting, even using a walking stick for mobility. Many believe this final act marked her sense of completion, allowing her to find peace. Queen Elizabeth II spent her final days at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, a place she deeply cherished. She had been staying there since July 21, 2022, surrounded by the property's fond memories. Despite her declining health, reports suggest she remained lively during her stay. She enjoyed familiar routines, such as spending time with family and indulging in her favorite television programs. One evening, she surprised everyone by hosting an informal dinner for her Bosleyan cousins, breaking royal tradition by forgoing formal attire. Even the customary bagpipes were set aside for a relaxed atmosphere, showcasing her desire to embrace simplicity in her final days. On the day the Queen's health took a sudden turn, Prime Minister Liz Truss was engaged in a debate about the energy crisis at the House of Commons. At noon, she discreetly received a note that abruptly altered the course of her day. Shortly after, Buckingham Palace released a statement expressing concern for the Queen's health, noting that she was comfortable at Balmoral. The announcement, combined with Truss's hasty exit, heightened public anxiety. Across the nation, people braced for the worst, with many speculating that the monarchy faced a moment of profound uncertainty. The evening before her health deteriorated, Queen Elizabeth II enjoyed what seemed to be a cheerful and light-hearted dinner at Balmoral Castle. She shared laughter and warm conversations, giving no indication of the rapid decline that would follow. By midnight, her condition worsened significantly. Despite the swift actions of her caregivers and the presence of a medical team, her health continued to deteriorate. The Queen, Britain's longest regulating monarch, was entering her final battle. As news of her declining health reached her family, immediate efforts were made to gather at Balmoral. Prince Charles and Camilla, already in Scotland, quickly arrived via helicopter. Princess Anne, also nearby, joined them without delay. This swift assembly ensured the Queen was surrounded by her loved ones during her final hours. It seemed almost fated that her family was close enough to share these profound moments. As the royal family gathered, the public outside Buckingham Palace displayed their unwavering loyalty. Flowers, candles, and prayers were offered as a tribute to their beloved monarch. The crowd, sensing the gravity of the situation, waited in collective anticipation, hoping for a miracle, but preparing for the worst. Despite heavy rain, devoted subjects gathered by the gates, holding on to hope for Queen Elizabeth's recovery. Sadly, her condition worsened, even as her medical team worked tirelessly to stabilize her. By 3 p.m., it seemed hope was fading, yet the Queen, known for her strength, faced her final moments with remarkable bravery. At exactly 3:10 p.m., Her Majesty's heart stopped. Dr. Douglas Glass, overseeing her care in Scotland, confirmed her passing, attributing it to old age. Though the news devastated many, Dr. Glass revealed that he had anticipated this outcome months earlier. Following the Queen's death, the royal family began gathering at Balmoral Castle. Prince William arrived at Aberdeen Airport by 4 p.m., leaving behind Catherine and their children. Shortly after, the Duke of York and the Earl and Countess of Wessex joined him. Prince Harry, attending a charity event in London, cancelled his plans and flew to Scotland, arriving at Balmoral at 7:52 p.m. Meghan remained at Frogmore Cottage. King Charles III, already at Balmoral, paid tribute to the late monarch. Meanwhile, palace staff initiated urgent communications, notifying key officials including the Prime Minister and High Commissioners. As the gravity of the moment sank in, Buckingham Palace lowered its flag to half-mast, marking a somber day in British history. News of the Queen's passing spread quickly. Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace, overwhelmed with sorrow. Many had never known a Britain without her. In a touching tribute, London cab drivers formed a guard of honor along the Mall, their lights glowing in silent respect. Amid the grief, nature provided a poignant symbol of hope. 2 rainbows appeared, one over Buckingham Palace and another above Windsor Castle. The crowd, united in their sorrow, sang "God Save the Queen," transforming their grief into a collective tribute. The global mourning was immense, with news outlets worldwide interrupting programming to report the loss. The meticulously planned Operation Unicorn began immediately. On September 11th, the Queen's casket, draped in the Scottish royal standard, departed Balmoral Castle. Princess Anne and Sir Timothy Lawrence accompanied the 175-mile journey through Aberdeenshire, Angus, and Dundee. Crowds lined the route, paying their respects as the procession arrived at the Palace of Holyrood House. The next day, the casket moved to St. Giles Cathedral, where 3,000 mourners paid tribute. That evening, Princess Anne stood vigil before the casket was transported to London aboard a Royal Air Force flight. Upon arrival, the Scottish royal standard was replaced with the UK's version, signaling the next phase of the Queen's journey. From September 14 to 19, the Queen lay in state at Westminster Hall. The procession from Buckingham Palace was marked by solemnity, with Big Ben tolling and gun salutes by the King's troop. At Westminster Hall, soldiers of the Queen's Company Grenadier Guards placed the casket on a catafalque. The public queued for up to 25 hours to pay their respects, with 2,500 mourners passing through. For those unable to attend, live streams allowed global participation. On September 16, King Charles III and his siblings held a vigil, followed by the Queen's grandchildren on September 17, each honoring her memory. The Queen's funeral plans, prepared since the 1960s, were executed meticulously. On September 19, a public holiday was declared to honor the occasion. The Queen's casket traveled to Westminster Abbey on the state gun carriage of the Royal Navy. The Abbey's tenor bell tolled once every minute for 96 minutes, symbolizing each year of her life. At 11 a.m., the service commenced, led by the Dean of Westminster and featuring readings by Prime Minister Liz Truss. Musical tributes included pieces performed at the Queen's coronation and wedding. Following a 2-minute silence, the national anthem played, concluding the ceremony with a poignant bagpipe rendition of Sleep, Dearie, Sleep. The world bid a solemn farewell to Queen Elizabeth II during a historic and emotional service. Among the poignant tributes, one stood out: an unpublished photograph of the Queen, shared by a devoted follower. The image depicted Her Majesty with red eyes, seemingly shedding tears, a reflection, perhaps, of the profound grief she felt after the passing of her beloved husband, Prince Philip, in 2021. Their deep bond and shared life made his loss an immense emotional burden for her. This image raised questions. Was it truly the Queen? Known for her steadfast dedication to royal duties, it could have been captured during a rare moment of vulnerability, revealing the human side of the monarch. What are your thoughts? Have you ever experienced a connection to the royal family or visited Buckingham Palace? Following the funeral service, Queen Elizabeth's journey continued with a grand procession to Wellington Arch. Her casket, carried on the historic state gun carriage, was drawn by 98 Royal Navy sailors, a tradition not seen since Sir Winston Churchill's funeral in 1965. The procession passed the Queen Victoria Memorial, where soldiers paused for a royal salute. At Wellington Arch, the casket was transferred to the state hearse, beginning its journey to Windsor. Thousands of mourners lined the route, paying their respects. Among the crowd were the Queen's beloved pets, her pony Emma, and corgis Sandy and Muick, silent witnesses to this historic moment. At St. George's Chapel in Windsor, the casket was carried up the west steps for a poignant committal service. At 4 p.m., St. George's Chapel hosted a deeply moving service. Attended by King Charles III and the royal family, it featured verses from Revelation 21:17, the same scripture used at the funerals of Queen Elizabeth's grandparents and father. The service concluded with a symbolic gesture. The imperial state crown, orb, and scepter were removed from the casket and placed on the altar. King Charles then placed the Queen's company camp color of the Grenadier Guards on her casket. The Lord Chamberlain broke the wand of office, placing it on the coffin, a final tribute to her reign. As the casket was lowered into the royal vault, the national anthem played. This public farewell concluded, but a private burial ceremony followed at 7:30 p.m. The Queen was interred alongside her parents, sister, and husband in the King George VI Memorial Chapel, a resting place crafted with enduring care. With Queen Elizabeth's passing, King Charles III ascended the throne, facing immense expectations. In his first speeches, he honored his mother's legacy, describing her life as a promise with destiny kept. He expressed his sorrow and assured the nation of his commitment to continue the monarchy's tradition of service, echoing the devotion exemplified by his mother. Born Elizabeth Alexandra Mary on April 21, 1926, her path to the throne was unforeseen. The abdication of her uncle, King Edward VIII, in 1936, propelled her father, King George VI, of the throne, making Elizabeth the heir apparent. During World War II, Elizabeth contributed actively, showcasing her dedication to public service. After marrying Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten in 1947, she ascended the throne in 1952 at just 25 years old. Balancing royal duties with raising a family, Queen Elizabeth became a symbol of resilience and commitment. Throughout her reign, she visited countless nations, met global leaders, and supported over 600 charities, leaving an indelible mark on history. Queen Elizabeth II's reign wasn't without hardship. Her annus horribilis in 1992 saw multiple family crises, and a devastating fire at Windsor Castle. Yet her decision to pay income tax reflected her adaptability to public sentiment. Despite these challenges, milestones like her Golden Jubilee in 2002, Diamond Jubilee in 2012, and Platinum Jubilee in 2022 celebrated her enduring legacy. Her reign, marked by grace, elegance, and unwavering dedication, came to an end in September 2022. Her extraordinary life and contributions will remain an enduring chapter in the annals of history.